All right, Tennessee Titans fans, this video is for you. I got a full 7-round mock draft, my mock draft 1.0 for the Titans, and I gotta tell you, I love this 1.0 mock draft. I think that while it's a little redundant now with free agency being open for a day and seeing some of the Titans moves that they've made, at the same time, I still really like the prospects. I really like their fit, and you will see why with each of these players. And going into the mock draft, I will explain each player, why I picked them, why do they make sense, look at some strengths and weaknesses, and overall give you a summary as to who I think they can be at the next level and how they can contribute to the Tennessee Titans. If you're a Titans fan and you like Titans content, you can't get enough of Titans content during the offseason, make sure you get subscribed to the Shoe Make Take. It would help me out a lot. I would greatly appreciate it. So that being said, let's jump into this mock draft. And with the first pick, 4th overall, I picked edge rusher Rueben Bain out of Miami. Still kind of the safe bet at this point. I know some people have kind of weaned off of Rueben Bain a little bit in terms of like sources talking about, who are they going to go? Are they going to go David Bailey, Rueben Bain? A lot more people have leaned towards David Bailey as of late, but I still think Rueben Bain could be a good fit for the Tennessee Titans. He's 6'2", 260 pounds, only 30-inch arms, which we'll talk about more in a second, but here's what I really like about Rueben Bain. First of all, Titans need another long-term option at edge rusher. Jermaine Johnson is on a 1-year deal. It's a 1-year rental. And if he's not good, he's gone, and then you're going to have another hole again. So drafting a guy like Rueben Bain, giving him time to develop, he can be the next starter next to Femi Oladejo. He also fits Robert Saleh's scheme. He is a good hand in the dirt defensive end, can rush off the inside on the interior on passing downs if needed. So he brings you that versatility as well. But this is a guy with relentless motor. He plays very hard from down to down. He also has a lot of techniques at his disposal. He's one of the more polished pass rushers at the top of the draft. Out of the big three with him, Bailey, and Arvell Reese, he is the best against the run. He is the most polished pass rusher out of the three, so he has a high floor as an NFL player. But the biggest question marks for his game, going into some of his weaknesses, is the arm length. The 30-inch arms, no edge rusher in the history of the NFL has ever succeeded with 30-inch arms. And it makes you wonder, how high is his ceiling going to be? Would the Titans even draft him because of that lack of length? It's not ideal at all. And like I said, there's a reason why no edge rusher in history has ever succeeded with those short arms. It's because in the NFL, when everybody is big, strong, has good length, if you don't have good length in the NFL, you will probably struggle. You will struggle. Look at Will Campbell. He was a guy coming out of LSU who was really technically sound at left tackle, but also despite having shorter arms, for a prototypical tackle, he figured out how to navigate that, how to work around it. And you look at what he did in the playoffs for the Patriots, and he was terrible. So definitely a comparison that I don't like to think about that much, but definitely a possibility for Rueben Bain at the next level, having those similar struggles. And also, how high is his ceiling going to be? He's going to be a good football player, in my opinion, but at 4th overall, is he really going to be a player caliber of being worthy the 4th overall pick? I don't know if I said that right, but I don't think so. I mean, you're not really going to get that in this draft anyway. It's not a great draft class. This has been talked about numerous times. I've talked about it on the show. So it's kind of hard when Jeremiah Love is on the board in this scenario, at least, to pick Rueben Bain over Jeremiah Love, but the Titans still need edge rushers. They did not get one early on in free agency. That could probably change. We'll have to see at the time of recording this video, but I think it's still a good fit for the Titans. It makes sense why he's been mocked to him for so long, and at worst, he's going to be a below average starter. At best, you're going to get an above average starter who is a valuable piece to your team in all facets, in pass rush, in run defense. So I think it's a safe pick. I think it's a safer pick than some other guys at the top of the draft. Although he comes with his own fair share of questions, definitely brings a lot to the table that I think the Titans would really like to have. Now we go to the second round, and I traded down with the Philadelphia Eagles. I went from pick 35 to pick 42 and got pick 73 back. So we snagged an extra third round pick. And with the 42nd pick in the second round, I took wide receiver Chris Brazzell out of Tennessee. Mr. Brazzle Dazzle, my guy. I'm a big Volunteers fan, as you guys know. But also, the Titans need help at wide receiver, and Chris Brazzell brings a lot to the position. He's 6'4", 198 pounds, 4.37 40. This is a rare athlete. For someone to be that tall, that fast, and move like he does as a wide receiver is special. And compared to other Tennessee receivers coming out of college, he ran a more diverse route tree, and you can see in some of his really, popping strengths, the way he's able to sink his hips and the way he can get out of his breaks sometimes, you see a lot of high-level potential here. And also the way with how he stems his routes is also very impressive. And a lot of the issues with these things with Tennessee receivers is because the offense that they run, a lot of those things aren't really required. You don't see a lot of that stuff on tape because the route combinations and route concepts that they're running don't require a lot of that type of work, right? It's a lot of vertical. It's a lot of quick turn. A lot of wide receiver screens as well as a big part of the Volunteers offense. So there's not a lot of variety where you can see how receivers can stem their routes, how they can bend their hips when they go into their breaks. Like, you don't see that very much compared to other NFL more pro style offenses, but it's rare. I really like it. And also, big hands, wide catch radius. I mean, this is a guy that's going to go up, get the football. You saw some of his catches in college. Of course, the touchdown against Alabama in 2024 was a really good one that helped Tennessee go up late. I think that ended up being the game winner. There's a good example. And I remember when he first got to Tennessee that he had a catch in training camp. I guess they call it training camp in college. But anyways, he went up probably half a foot over the defender easily, snagged it with one hand, got both feet down. Like, it was one of the craziest catches you'll ever see. And of course, it was in practice. Things like that are more likely to happen. But at the same time, I mean, you see what he's able to do with the ball in his hands in the air, boxing out defenders. This is a guy that could really help and bring a vertical off element to the offense and help Cam Ward, who is a gunslinger, who's not always accurate, who with a big catch radius and big hands can help compensate for that. The only things I really have a problem with Chris Brazzell is that he's not the best short to intermediate route runner. He's a little bit more rigid in his route or how he sets up his routes, which won't translate well to the next level if he doesn't get that better. Definitely want to see a little bit more fluidity in the short to intermediate area. And he's not the most elusive guy, even though he's really fast. He's not very agile, so it could limit his rack ability, run after catch ability. This is a guy that you might have to manufacture run after catch, quickly give him a crossing route or put him on a drag route, let him catch and run. And also, he has inconsistencies separating, especially in the short to intermediate area. So that's something that he'll need to clean up and work on. But like I said, Brazzell can be an explosive weapon for Cam Ward, bring a vertical element to the offense. And you look at Calvin Ridley, who could be cut, might be cut after the year. His future is a little uncertain. He could take the place of Calvin Ridley once Calvin Ridley is gone. And now you have Alec Iomanor as your X, Brazzell as your Z, Wan'Dale Robinson and Jim Dike as your guys in the slot that can win short, win vertically. So you have a really well-rounded group here. That's why I picked Chris Brazzell. Now we go to the third round. With the original third-round pick for the Titans, 66 overall, I took center Connor Lew out of Auburn. This is a little interesting, and with this pick, definitely looks a little more justified because the Titans really haven't signed a real center in free agency. They signed one, but he's a backup. I think it was Austin Schlatter from the Giants is what his name was. But Connor Lew is 6'3", 310 pounds, and one of the more polished center prospects coming out. Definitely has a good chance to start right away. I wouldn't start him right away for reasons we'll get into here in a second. But looking at what he does well, he's got really strong hands, and he's got quick feet. This is a guy that will get his hands on you and get pushing. Like, it's grab and go with Connor Lew. And he's a good athlete. He's great in the run game. Fantastic in the run game. That will also help him fit really well in Brian Daboll's scheme, where you want an athletic center that also can run the football. He fits that mold perfectly. He's also tough, smart guy, and also he is a team captain. He's an elite football character, a great leader, and the Titans need guys like that as they're setting a new culture for their team. So with the scheme fit, with what he brings athletically, as a person, he fits really well with the Tennessee Titans, and they need a center. He could sit for a year, go into year 2 as a starting center, and boom, you have a long-term option at that position. But there is some things to look at that I'm concerned with. Number one, his injuries. He tore his ACL in 2025, so he is not healthy right now. He would need time to get healthy, get fresh, and then he can finally begin to develop as a center. And maybe if you can let him sit to take that learning and adjustment that he needs, and also allow him time to get healthy and stay healthy, more importantly, then you can slate him into your starter in year 2. And he also needs he needs to be better in pass protection. Definitely had a lot of struggles with that when he was at Auburn. The run game is definitely his much stronger side of his game. And another thing, more specifically, he had some trouble dealing with speed to power in pass rush scenarios because he's not as big of a center compared to some other guys. I mean, 6'3", 310 is actually a really good size for a center. I take that back. But the struggle to speed to power against some stronger interior defensive linemen and against some edge rushers on stunts definitely will get him. He'll have some struggles there. So as long as he can refine his pass protection, get his hand placement in a better place, set a better anchor, I think he'll be okay. And what he gives you in the run game definitely could give you starting potential right away. I would not start him in front of Cam Ward as a rookie. That sounds like a horrible idea. But as a guy who can sit and develop, become your starter in a year after he gets drafted, I think this could be a real long-term option for the center for the Titans, and that's why I took him. There's that option here. I know picking him in the 3rd round is kind of high, but right now, interior offensive line is one of the bigger needs for the Titans offense. So taking a long-term guy here, couldn't pass that up at that point in time. Now with their 2nd, 3rd round pick, 73rd overall via the Philadelphia Eagles, I took a running back, and I took running back Emmett Johnson out of Nebraska, the former Cornhusker, 5'10", 200 pounds, had a career year with Nebraska, had 1,400 yards, 12 touchdowns. He was one of the best backs in college football, and he is powerful. He is a strong north and south runner. That is what the Titans need at running back. They need a back that can run with power, that can get downhill. They do not have that. Tony Pollard doesn't have the power element. Tyjae Spears isn't the north and south runner that he needs to be. He is a more outside, twitchy running back. And along with the production that I told you, he had over 200 carries. So this is a guy that can take plenty of carries. He can take on a workload if you need him to. And he has great stamina, great motor. He does not slow down. And so if you get a back that has power, that does not slow down, does that remind you of somebody? Yeah, I'm sure it does. It reminds you of Derrick Henry a little bit. A guy that can get better as the game goes on. Obviously, he's going to be Derrick Henry. Absolutely not. Is he even going to be a starter? I don't know. Which is why it's interesting taking him in the 3rd round, because looking at his measurables and looking at how he performed at the Combine, you would come off with the impression that he might be more of a backup at the next level. But the bottom line is the Titans need good football players, and not just at starters, but also at backup. They need good depth. And I think that a guy like Emmett Johnson could give you some good stuff, can give you some short yardage versatility in year 1, help you on the goal line, help you on 3rd and short, which the Titans were so bad at last year. Definitely could take on that role and could be a future backup behind a more complete running back with a more complete skill set. And that's some things that he needs to work on, and that are kind of deficiencies, that he is only about a north and south runner. That's it. He can make, a quick jump cut and go, but he's not twitchy. He can't bounce runs outside as well as some other guys, because he's also got his average speed. He ran a 4.5 40. Obviously, that's still pretty fast for human standards, but in NFL standards, it's pretty average. He's not going to be an absolute home run hitter, a burner. Kind of reminds me of Ray Davis in that sense, a guy who gets north and south immediately hits the hole and goes, but with the average speed, isn't always going to hit a home run, but he can break for big runs. I'm not saying he can't, but also he's not very creative as a runner because of that north and south and lack of bounce and twitchiness that kind of hurts him when the hole gets a little cloudy and he has to slow his feet. Then defensive linemen rally to the ball, tackle him, and it's a short gain. So this is a guy that if you give him a big hole and he sees it, he's going to step through it. He's going to run right through it with full speed, and he is going to get yardage for you. He's a good short yardage back. He'll be used on the goal line for the Tennessee Titans if they were to draft him. I really like the fit of what he can bring year one, what he can evolve into in years prior, and considering the scheme fit, it's all right here to take Emmett Johnson. I love this pick, and the fact that he was available, couldn't pass him up at this point in time. Now we get into where things got a little redundant because the Titans signed 3 corners in free agency. I'm recording this on Monday night. They got Alontae Taylor and Cordell Flott, and then not too long before I started recording this, they signed another corner. I can't remember his name, but he's from the Chiefs, and I'm like, oh, wow, great. Now this doesn't make a lot of sense. But with that being said, it still does make sense for in terms of scheme fit, what the players are in terms of speed, length, well, not mean speed, but length and some versatility as well that I like. You're going to see why I picked these 2 corners and why I think they could be really good fits for the Titans. And the first one is Will Lee III out of Texas A&M. He is 6'1", 189 pounds, just under 33-inch arms, so the length isn't perfect, but it's just about right there as a passable metric. And he also ran a 4.52. He's not the fastest guy, but he is still an explosive athlete. 42-inch vertical, 11-foot broad jump at the combine. This is a guy that is an explosive athlete from quick, in terms of quick, short area quickness, and in terms of getting up and going after the football. And that's his biggest strength. He is a ball hawk. He had 24 pass breakups, 4 interceptions in 3 years at Texas. Or no, did he play at Texas A&M all 3 years? I don't think he did. I think he transferred at some point. But in all those 3 years, he had a lot of ball production. And while overall he's better in man coverage, he's played plenty of zone coverage. He has plenty of experience there, which that's why I decided to take him, because he can play zone, so maybe you move him there. And talking about some of his deficiencies here in a second, you're going to see why he was also taken, because he could transition his zone a little easier, in my opinion, but he also plays the sideline very well. This is a guy that will cover his third of the field, he will lock it down, and he does not allow things to go over his head very often, although he does have problems with that. One of his biggest issues is because he runs a 4.52 40, pure burners will run past him. This is a guy that will need safety help over the middle. But when he gets his feet set and when he jams well at the line and can run on time, he can shut down corners on the outs or receivers on the outside. And another big issue with Will Lee is that he has inconsistencies with tackling and mental mistakes. Sometimes he will dive at an ankle of a ball carrier and it'll end up becoming a missed tackle. It happens a lot, very often actually. And the mental mistakes, he'll just have these lapses where he gets beat at the line of scrimmage and boom, his man is gone. And it leads to a deep route down the field. So he needs to clean some of that up. I think that's easily coachable. That's not something I'm very worried about. And also, the third thing, really doesn't give you a lot in the run game. He's not a very physical, like, downhill player in that sense. Like, sure, you could teach him to do run game stuff. I don't think you're going to want him to do run game stuff. I mean, considering how good he is in zone coverage, in man coverage, and what he brings to the table there, I think you can keep him back deep, and I think he'll be okay. But this is a guy that will have time to learn and adjust in the NFL and provide depth right away. And this is why I took him here in the 4th round, because the Titans, well, yes, I guess they signed 3 corners now, and with Marcus Harris, that makes 4. They still could use some depth here. So one of these 2 corners may not be picked. They might go only 1 corner here with the 3 guys picked. But at the same time, I like both of these players, Will Lee being the first one. And the second one, I like even more in the 5th round. Tacario Davis, the corner out of the University of Washington. 6'4", 193 pounds, 33-inch arms, and ran a 4.4 40, 37-inch vertical, 10-foot broad jump. This is a freak athlete. I love Tacario Davis. First things first, although he's not a productive player, and that's one of his knocks, he only had 3 interceptions in his entire career, but he has plenty of pass breakups, and he is extremely disruptive. At the line of scrimmage, he jams receivers well, he shuts down deep throws, he is willing to get physical over the middle of the field and break up passes there, and when he notices it, he is a heat-seeking missile to the ball. So in terms of ball skills and production, in terms of pass breakups, that's a guy I really like here and fits really well in Saleh's defense because he also plays zone. He is a great zone corner. He is instinctive. He has good eye discipline, and that translates really well into the scheme. And because of that eye discipline, he could also maybe make a transition to safety, possibly. So if you wanted to take him and transition him to safety at the next level, that's a possibility. I'd rather just keep him as a corner and let him really use that length to protect the boundary and protect the sideline. That could be really nice. But here's some issues. Other than the lack of turnover production in his college career, at the line of scrimmage, he tends to get a little grabby, and instead of trying to lean on his size and his length to take over and win, he'll start grabbing a little bit, draw a couple penalties. It'll get him off his feet, and receivers will get past him a little bit and get a step, and he'll have to use his length to overcompensate and shut it down. And also, he could also be better at run defense. Not like that he's bad at it. It's just, he just didn't do it a lot. Maybe that could be something that could be fixed. That length could be really good in run defense, especially in open field tackling. I really like that idea. But overall, I mean, Tacario Davis, this is a freak athlete that could develop to be a very problematic player for wide receivers at the next level. While he won't generate the turnovers, this is a guy that you're not going to want to throw his way anyways because he's just going to knock the ball away. Like Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson didn't get a lot of interceptions in his time with the Arizona Cardinals, but you better believe that quarterbacks did not throw his way because receivers were not open. He was batting passes down. You could not complete a pass on Patrick Peterson. This could be Tacario Davis' ceiling. Will he ever reach that? Who knows? This is a 5th-round pick for a reason, guys. This is a dart throw at a freak athlete still. But it's hard to deny. The tools are there. The instincts are there in zone coverage. This could be a late-round steal for the Tennessee Titans. And if they're in the 5th round and they haven't picked a DB yet, Tacario Davis would be my pick. Now we move to the 6th round. Where I know, wait, is it also a 4th round pick? I think it's may have also been a 4th round pick. Now we'll move to, I think this is definitely 5th round. Safety VJ Payne, the safety out of Kansas State. 6'3", 206 pounds, nearly 34-inch arms, and also ran a 4.40. This is another freak athlete that is rangy, but also he is as versatile as it gets. He can play deep, he can play against the run, he can play in the slot, he'll cover tight ends. He's done all of it, you name it, he has played in that area of the field. So that's kind of hard to ignore when he has so much physical tools at his disposal. He is also better back deep, which is why I took him, even though he does a lot of good things for the Kansas State defense, or why he did a lot of good things. He is better playing back deep, and that's where the Titans need help. They don't need help at box safety, playing inside against the run, covering tight ends. They have Kevin Winston and Amani Hooker to do that, but they need a safety that can sit back deep, patrol the field, play almost like that, I guess not a traffic cop per se, but definitely someone who will survey the field and take away the deep pass. He was really good at that at Kansas State. And also, this is another team captain, another great leader, elite football character. So that gets a big plus for me. But some things he needs to work on. Number one, tackling. It's another issue. A lot of these late round DBs, you'll see that. Issues are with tackling. If you can tackle well, you could probably go 3rd round at least, because tackling is kind of a lost art in the NFL. So that's kind of where I'm at with that philosophy. But tackling definitely needs to be better. Some issues with open field tackling, and also trying to go for arm tackles that aren't very secure and very strong. Allows players and receivers and backs to break away from it. And also, while he has played in the box, he has done a lot of stuff on the inside. It needs to be better. He's not as decisive as you'd want to be. He's not as aggressive and urgent as you'd like him to be. That definitely needs to be developed, which is why he's better playing back deep. That's why his tape shows that. And then number 3, this one's kind of more nuanced, but is there too much blend with other players? With all the things that he can do, you have players that can do that with Winston and Amani Hooker. Maybe he can step in there as a pinch. That versatility can probably be more of a benefit than a detriment. But because of the blend of abilities and skill set, does that mean the Titans will draft him? I don't know. But with his ability to be a back safety and with the size and the length and the speed, it's kind of hard to pass on a safety like this in a good safety class. And he could be the future free safety for the Titans if things work out. I don't know. I really like this pick. I would really like this pick if they were to take VJ Payne. There's a lot he brings to the table. Definitely could provide some excitement in the Tennessee Titans secondary along with Kevin Winston. That could be a really fun safety duo to watch if it were to hit his peak. Now we get into round 6 and round 7 with a couple dart throw offensive linemen. Starting with Clemson tackle Tristan Lay. 6'6", 310 pounds, prototypical tackle size. He's a former 5-star recruit out of Virginia. And one thing that I really like about Tristan Lee is he is a good mover. In the run game, he gets up to the second level. He's good blocking in the second level. For his size, he moves pretty well. And for a team that needs to run the ball well in Brian Daboll's scheme, that fits the bill pretty well. He also has a very powerful first punch and anchors quickly. So this is a guy that at his best will take an edge rusher, get him off his mark, make him take an extra step, slow him down, and by the time that edge rusher gets set and ready to come back with a counter move, he's already anchored, set in the ground, you ain't moving him, right? That's the idea with a guy like Tristan Lee. He can do that. And he has a little bit of a nasty streak. He's an ultra competitor. He plays through the whistle. He is a guy that will finish blocks with his guy on the ground. This is a guy that will throw you, maul you. He is not afraid to get his hands on you and treat you like a plushie, like a stuffed animal, and throw you across the room. He is very willing, very high energy in that regard, and that's something I really like in my offensive tackles. Kind of like a Trent Williams, someone who is very aggressive and very powerful in the run game, and almost kind of a nightmare to line up against, knowing that he is going to absolutely destroy you, right? But here are some things he needs to work on. And the biggest thing for me, like overarching, is that he never really developed past his high school days. He never got an opportunity to start until last year, only started 11 games. So that's going to be a very steep learning curve for a guy like Tristan Lee going into the NFL at the next level. And also his hand placement and pad level, especially in pass protection, are very inconsistent. That needs to get better. He is not great in pass protection. Run game is a lot better on that regard, but also his anchor. While he can anchor, he needs to increase his lower body strength at the next level against bull rushes and strong interior, with bull rushes against strong edge rushers. He might get knocked on the ground a little bit early on. So this is a guy that needs time to develop that lower body strength so he can set a firmer anchor and really marry that strength to his already amazing size on the top end with that powerful punch I was telling you guys about. He has all the physical tools to be a good offensive tackle in the NFL, but because of all the work that he needs, will a team like the Titans be patient enough to see that development through to the point where he could be a starter? I don't think so, which leads me to believe that he could be a backup at the next level, but this could be a really good backup if he develops. So I'm not going to complain about that at all. There is a lot of upside here, a lot of untapped potential, and I would be all over it if they pick Tristan Lee out of Clemson. And now we get to the last guy, and this one, I'm not going to lie, don't like that much, just because at this point you're in the 7th round. Where can I take a depth piece where the Titans need help? And offensive line, interior offensive line was my pick, and I took Fernando Carmona Jr., the guard out of Arkansas, 6'5", 316 pounds. The thing about Carmona is he is combative, high energy, high effort, right? He's plays like that on every down. He is a relentless player. He's also very durable. I couldn't find anything about him missing a game. So does that actually mean he played every game in his college career? Possibly, but everything I heard was that he was a very tough and durable football player. And also, technically, he's got quick feet. He can move quickly, which helps him out in the run game, but there are some glaring concerns in why there's a reason why he would go late in the draft, if not undrafted. And first of all, the Texas Tech incident. If you don't know what happened, after a run play, he stepped on a Texas Tech player's foot. Or no, was it on his foot? No, it was on his ankle. He stepped on a player's ankle. It didn't look good. Obviously got caught on video. He got blasted on social media for it. People were calling for him to be suspended. Yes, he made an apology on social media, but something like that is dirty. I don't know if the Titans are willing to overlook that and take him in the 7th round. I don't know if this is like a one-off thing with Carmona. I wasn't able to find any other issues with Fernando Carmona, so it looks like it's a more one-off thing, but still something to note that doesn't look very good for NFL standards. And then also another guy that needs a lot of work in pass protection, his hand placement, his base. He has very short arms, so that has a lot of issue when he goes to try and punch. He tries to overextend, and it gets him out of position. His base will get a little too wide when he tries to set an anchor, and he'll really try and hold his own against people that are bigger than him. It's not great. It all translates into poor pass protection and really limits his ceiling as an NFL player. And also, he has body control issues, blocking control issues. The body control I already touched on with him trying to lean too far forward or too far into one direction and try and overcompensate when he's facing off against a bigger opponent. And the block control issues because of the short arms, and it's hard for him to control blocks sometimes in the run game. So that's an issue that he needs to work on. Is it going to be a lot better? I don't know. It's definitely a deficiency with the arms, and he is going to be a backup at the next level more likely. But, I really don't know if he could make the roster. Is he a great scheme fit? Sure, because he's a better run blocker, but I don't know. This is a dart throw on a player that could possibly be something for you, maybe not be something. We would have to see, but definitely the least confident pick in this draft. I was just looking for someone where can we fill a need and get some depth at a position of need. Interior offensive line was the way to go. I was like, okay, we got a center. We drafted a tackle that could be a future backup tackle. Drafted a guard that could be a future backup guard. And that is the overarching thing with this draft. Is a lot of these positions a lot of these guys won't start right away, but with time to develop could become starters later down the line. And when you talk about the Titans, draft and develop, this is what a draft class that is all about draft and develop. You drafted a lot of players at positions of need, at premium positions like wide receiver, edge rusher, corner, and with time, these guys could step into the starting roles as some of these other players like Calvin Ridley. After, Ruben Bain's a little bit different, but after Calvin Ridley leaves, Chris Brazzell can take in the spot. In a couple of years, if Alontae Taylor or Cordell Flood isn't working out, or their contract runs out and they decide they don't want to re-sign them, one of these corners that they draft one could take that starting spot. So there's a lot of room to grow with this draft class and a lot of talent in this draft class, which is what I really like about it the most. But that being said, that is it for this mock draft. What do you guys think of these players and these picks? Do you think that this is a good mock draft? Do you think it's a bad mock draft? I want to know all your thoughts in the comments down below. Also, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe button. It helps the channel out tremendously. I want to hit 300 subscribers very, very soon. We're almost there, so we need 6 of you guys just to hit that button. It's free. Takes less than a second to do it. It would help me out a lot. I would greatly appreciate it. With that being said, that is going to do it for today's video. Make sure to stay tuned for a full first round mock draft with all 32 teams. If you guys want to see that, go check it out. It's going to come out either Wednesday or Thursday. We'll have to see. It's getting a little pushed back. I apologize. I thought it'd be out earlier in the week, but time got away from me a little bit. But that is going to do it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I love you all. Appreciate y'all. And as always, I will see you all next time.